Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. If you want to follow along, we will be back in the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter, Genesis chapter 25. We'll begin in verse 19. And if you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then join me with these words. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean, to be his wife. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah his wife conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two people from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other, the older shall serve the younger." When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, and all his body like a hairy cloak, so they called his name Esau. And afterward his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. A couple things that I think deserve our attention here. One of them I want to point out is, once again, God gives us this kind of a genealogy. Granted, it's not as long as some. There's only a few people mentioned here. But it does remind us again of the place, I think, and the importance that God does put on family. Family is of great importance to God, and I will tell you that family is of great importance to Satan, just for two different reasons. Satan knows that if he can destroy the family, then the church will go shortly thereafter. God understands and knows that a strong family leads to a strong church. And so God takes care of families, and he builds all kinds of things in. He gives us all kinds of direction in his word as to how to have a godly family. But unfortunately, so many families choose to ignore God, or at least most of the time, until things go wrong, till there's a problem, till someone's sick, till one of the children becomes disobedient. Then they manage to turn towards God. Here we see that Isaac sets out to build a godly family. He does it correctly. He doesn't move in with Rebekah. He doesn't, tell her, let's try it out and see if we're compatible. They're hooked. Remember a few days ago, when we saw the servant ask, is this going to be a steadfast love and faithful to each other? And so they've made a permanent arrangement here. They are committed to each other, committed to raise up a godly family. Now, we see that much like Isaac's parents, they have 20 years of marriage, and Rebekah had been unable to conceive. And so Isaac prays and prays that she would be able to conceive. And this doesn't mean just one prayer. This word that's used there means he's been praying over this full 20 years. She does finally come up pregnant, and she notices a lot of movement. These two children there's a lot of movement going on as these two children are struggling together. And notice what she does. She goes and inquires of the Lord. This is a praying family. They prayed to conceive. They prayed when they conceived. This is a praying family that God has brought here. Now, God answers her and tells her that there's going to be two different nations coming up in you. You're going to have twins, and each one of them, just as with Abraham to Isaac and Ishmael, that each one of them then were the fathers of of great nations. These two children that Rebekah is going to have will bring about great nations. And so we see this ultimately this promise to Abraham being fulfilled. And he tells her that the day will come when the older son will serve the younger son. And we'll talk about that a little later on, but this was an unusual thing. I'm guessing probably that at that time Rebekah probably didn't pay that statement a lot of attention. She was like most people probably, well, as long as they're healthy. And so she probably didn't really pay that any attention. But I assure you in the coming days, we're going to see that story play out. Well, eventually she does have two healthy twin boys that her and Rebekah and her and Isaac are now the father and mother up. And says that one of them came out red and unusually hairy, animal-like, rugged, sturdy. They gave him the name Esau. From Esau, we will see that the nation of Edom actually comes about, where we ultimately will read about Edomites, and there will be trouble in the future because of the Edomites. Well, right behind Esau comes out Jacob, holding on and hanging on to the heel of Esau. And this symbolizes the fact that Jacob will eventually replace in the line of inheritance, that he will replace Esau, the oldest son. And so a lot going on here that kind of is setting the stage for some things that we will dig into in the coming days. But the one thing I just want to remind you of, as I have so many times through this story of Abraham, is just time and time again we are reminded and we see examples of God being faithful and honoring the promises that He has made. And once more, we see some promises going on. We see some promises being fulfilled in that Abraham's genealogy is continuing, but then we see some more being fulfilled. We see this promise, this word that the younger son will ultimately pass by the older son in, I'm going to use the word rank, I'm not sure that's the right word, but in line in the family. And so we'll dig into that as we move forward. But for today, suffice to remember, if you don't catch anything else, you remember that God always honors His word. He always keeps His promises. All right, you have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.